Hello, how are you? Michael Williams here. I'm doing this little short broadcast, should be less than 10 minutes, to address something that I hear a lot from my clients. And just recently also got an email from one of my students. And this is something that I hear often, and it is, why is it difficult to sometimes speak well with family and friends, people that you know? So for many people who are going through speech programs, could be mine, could be someone else's, they find it more challenging to use what they're learning with people that they know, particularly family and friends. Other people find it easier to speak with family and friends and more difficult with strangers. This seems like that's kind of normal, right? People that you don't know, you might feel a little more uncomfortable with. But in this video, I want to focus on why it may be more difficult for some of you to speak well, to use what you're learning, use your new speaking style, whatever it is that you've learned from whomever, to use this with family and friends. And I've talked about this in many other videos in many different places, but it comes down to at least a couple of different factors or related factors, actually. One of those factors being your self concept, your identity. So let me explain. And we can break this down even more simply by saying your memory. So as you grew up, you developed an identity of how you would relate with your family and your friends, people that you know, people that you're comfortable with. And they accepted you mostly, right, for who you were, for who you are, and they accepted the way that you spoke. And so you felt comfortable for the most part speaking the way you speak with them. So this was your identity, your self-concept, who you see you are, who you believe you are when you're around those people. You could also look at this as memory, right? Your brain creates a pattern, a memory, or memories of how you have spoken with people that you know, so that when you are around them, when you're around a friend or family, your brain doesn't have to figure out or think about how should I speak, how should I act. It automatically knows. It just goes back instantly, right? It goes back to the memory and says, oh, I'm around a family member and this is how I usually speak. This is how I usually speak. So then you speak that way, you act that way, you respond that way around your family and friends. So one factor has to do with your identity, your self concept, your memory, your pattern of how you act, how you speak, how you think around those people. The other one is just your comfort level. You're comfortable speaking with them. So I have many people who are going through my program and they have the same challenge. But when they're around people they don't know, they're able to be more conscious about their speech, right? They care about their speech more when they're with strangers. When they're with their family, they kind of let their hair down. They drop their guard because they feel more comfortable. In their mind, they're thinking, well, they know how I speak. They'll accept me. They have accepted me, so it's okay for me to speak this. So they then revert back to their old speaking pattern. This is a big no-no. You have to speak the same way with everyone all the time to develop this new pattern. But to answer that question, if you're wondering why do I struggle with my family more than strangers, this is the primary reason. You're more comfortable. You kind of let your hair down. You speak the way you've always spoken. And there's a pattern, there's an identity there. So, what has to happen? What the solution is that you literally have to begin to change your speaking identity, your self concept, your belief about who you are and how you speak when you're with your family. I struggled with the same thing for many years when I was around my sister, when I would talk to my sister on the phone, just many, many years after I had, you know, earned my living speaking, right? Many, many years after I had done that, I still kind of struggled with my sister. When I would talk to her on the phone, when I would see her in person, I had to work harder. Nothing like it was when I was younger, but I just had to work harder. And it was kind of like that with my mom until she passed away. And so I was just wondering, why is this? And it stayed like that for a long time until finally, bing, I figured out what you have to do is you have to speak to your sister the same way you speak to everyone else. And it felt a little weird, felt a little uncomfortable. I thought she said, why are you speaking to me all professional? But she never said that, right? Most of the time, people are not going to notice. Sometimes they will, and they'll say, why are you talking like that? And you just have to say, I'm working on my speech. And they may feel uncomfortable. You may feel uncomfortable. That's part of the process. They'll get used to it, and you'll get used to it, just like they got used to you struggling with your speech and you got used to it. They'll get used to it, you speaking differently, and you'll get used to it as well. It's what our brain does. But you can't let yourself not use your new style because you feel uncomfortable or because you're thinking they might feel uncomfortable or they might think it's weird or strange. They might. So what? You have to do it anyway. They'll appreciate your new speaking style once it becomes your normal speaking style. So again, the solution is if you're not in a program, then you need to get in a structured, systematic program. Techniques and tools can be helpful, right? But if you really want to change this thing, that you're not constantly using techniques and tools for the rest of your life, you got to change your speaking identity so that you no longer think of yourself as a stutterer. Doesn't mean you're not going to get stuck or have disfluencies. Everyone does. I do. Everyone does. But doesn't impact you the same. You recover much quickly. The vast majority of the time, you're speaking well. Okay, that's where you're free. You're free. So you want to develop a new speaking style. Replace the old one. Don't try to fix it or treat it. Replace the old one. Replace your mindset with a new way of thinking. And then apply that same mindset, those same speaking skills with your family and friends. That's the key. It's got to be with your family and friends. Okay. So if you do that, then I promise you what you're going to find is that you will be speaking much more smoothly. You're probably wondering why I'm speaking like this because I noticed my camera was zoomed all the way out. Like, Michael, what are you doing with your camera? But anyway, I digress. Um, you're going to find that you will be speaking much smoother with your family. This is not easy. It's going to be challenging. This whole process is probably one of the most challenging things you ever do in your entire life, but you can do it if you want to do it. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. Questions and comments, go ahead and leave it or visit my website, ask me there at pro90d.com. If you have been working on your own and you're finding that your results are inconsistent, visit my website, check out the coaching, talk to me about working with me one-on-one so we can accelerate the process. Time's going to go by anyway. You might as well work on your speech. Invest in yourself. People invest in vacations, they invest in all kinds of things. Often they don't invest in themselves as much as they could. You're not investing in me, you're investing in you. So work on your speech, work on your own. That can get you to a certain level. It might get you all the way to where you need to be. But if you're finding you're working on your own and you're struggling to be consistent, then it's time for a coach. I have a coach. Spent tens of thousands of dollars and have appreciated it. Most highly successful people have coaches. So why shouldn't you? Visit me, pro90d.com. Check out my self-study. It's a complete course, Pro90D speech and presentation system. This is for professionals. I don't work with young people. Um, young people can often get better results from a speech therapist. You can certainly use my free stuff and take my course, but in terms of coaching, I work with adults and I work with people who have a professional mindset and who want to take their professional and personal life to the next level, and they're ready to work hard and they're ready to put in the time that they need. Okay. Thank you. I hope this has been helpful. Talk to you soon.